Well, Robert and Jake, my profuse apologies for missing the meeting with you guys today. I spaced out, made another appointment, and when I got back from the other appointment, I saw my reminder that I had this appointment. So, because this was such a great idea to get you guys in, see how we different ones of us use my math lab and grade and all that. So let me take you guys into, first of all, one of my two face-to-face classes. The intermediate algebra is what both sections of that are going to be. So when we get there, first thing I want to take you to is my syllabus here, which of course the kids don't necessarily read. And notice the way grading is set out. You'll notice, probably jump out at you guys right away, being sharp, is the final exam is worth 30%. Tests, and I'm talking by tests, I'm talking the face-to-face proctored tests, are worth a grand total of 48% of the grade. So 78% of the grade in this class is they have to sit down with a proctor, no notes, no book. They do have a calculator accessible and within a reasonable time limit. I usually give them plenty of time. Time's rarely an issue on my tests, but they have to complete a test that shows they know what the heck is going on in the class. Now, preparing for the tests is all going to be the same. It's going to be this basically the biggest, best single shot at getting them prepared for tests are these online tests. What you're going to notice is for every time they have a test, they have an online test. Turns out the online test, all I did to make up the regular sit-down test, these ones that are worth a total of 48% of the grade, is I'll go into this online test that's right before that date, and I will just pick off 20 to 25 problems. Most of the online test is covered on this test. Every single problem that they'll see on one of these online tests. And then the remaining parts of the plot, there's class participation. Basically, it's attendance. They have got to be there at least 90% of the time, or they start missing points fast. If they miss below 80%, if they miss and fall below 80% attendance, all these points are usually gone, these 5 points. Okay. Online quizzes are what's most of the homework. You'll notice there's no slot called homework. So that's another thing that might be considered odd. Okay, let's go into my math lab. Actually, I'm going to go in the way students would under this link, homework due, just so you'd get kind of their view. And it's thinking like my math lab is wont to do. And giving me my nag screen. Okay, so here it takes you to these, and you'll notice there's no due dates. That's because the homework is not collected due worth anything in itself. It is mainly there to help them do the quizzes. So the quizzes and tests, you'll notice there's due dates and they're worth a piece of the grade. Now, so what I expect them to do on quizzes in general is they'll go through a test. They'll go through a test once. And what they can do is in the gradebook version of my math lab, they can go back over it and see what problems they missed. Let me just go back to the one that I did. So I did the one quiz. So I go into my gradebook, see the last time I did the quiz, and I'm going to go through and review it. Okay. And it's thinking some more. I hate the silent time here on this when making these videos. Anyway, so you got these things, and when you see a problem, if you hover the mouse over the problem that's missed, it will give you a problem number. And that's important for them to copy down because the quiz, on the quizzes, the order of the problems is scrambled. So let's say R.2.33 is a problem they need to work on. What they can do is go back into homework, and they can go back to this review. Wrong one. The actual review, not the media for review. And I can look for R.2.33. Same way, and it happens to be question 11 on this homework. So I get in there, and the homework version is the one that has all the helps. So you probably know them by now. They can view an example, help me solve this, etc. And when they finally gotten a problem right, one of these turns into similar exercise, and they can go through and practice the problems they've missed until they get them right. And they can get different types of help along the way, and in terms of explanation, where it is often in the book, view an example, help me solve this. These reviews didn't have go to the textbook, but they have that too. Okay, so there's all these help. They're supposed to go through the homework version and then return to retake the quiz. And what you'll notice then is that when they go into the quizzes, let me go back there again. You'll notice this number of attempts. They have up to at least 3 attempts. If they need more attempts, they can ask me. The main reason I don't allow them more than 3 at first is I want to make sure that they're going through that process of reviewing these quizzes rather than just going through over and over again trying to luck into a good score on a quiz. But that's the quizzes. The quizzes are worth only about 5% of the grade. These online tests total to about 12% of the grade. What you'll notice here is they can take those as many times as they need to. And again, it's the online tests are where the problems from the real test are pulled. They're pulled right off of here. If you can do that and repeat that on paper without the helps, without going back to look at your notes or excessive work on friends, tutors, etc. If you can go through this, that's the thing that tests yourself. That way you test yourself to see if you're ready to take a test. And so again, if they see some problems that they're missing on the online test, they can go back through, hover over the problems, find out which ones they missed, and they can go through, and there is a review for online test 1. And in homework mode, they can go look through the particular problems they missed, okay, and find them and work them out and get good at them and get to the similar exercises and so on. So you should really have a way to know whether or not you are prepared for a test. That is, you are prepared for the upcoming test if you are able to take the online test and get it, 80 or better is the score I suggest, without having to go through crutches that you wouldn't have on an ordinary test day. All right? So there's how the online test go. That's preparing for individual exams, is to prepare for this. So the 5th is the day this is due. That also happens to be the day of their corresponding test. Right now the 28th is when this is due. I believe the corresponding regular test is the 1st. So these are worth each 3% each, and these regular tests that follow are worth 12. So the one I supervise is worth more. Okay? But so the focus of their grade is on this quizzes and tests page. Their deadlines are on this quizzes and tests page. And they get to do things over and over. They really get more than 3 times, but to get beyond 3 times, they have to ask me for extra tries, and I have to make sure they're doing remediation, going back to the homework and learning how to do things as well. Okay? And the online tests are what prepare them for the regular tests, but the regular tests are going to be a big part of their grade. End of the semester, they'll have 4 of these quizzes that lead them up to prepare for the final. The final is just pulled off of these 4 quizzes, and there they go. So that is the way things work in my face-to-face class. The online is very similar. It just doesn't have an attendance component. So Let me know if you guys need any other information, if that will, hopefully that helps out in terms of how I hope they can use my math lab and all its helps to help them learn, and maybe ways that you can coach them toward that. And in terms of if somebody's behind, the focus is, and they've got a test coming up, the online test and the review for the online test are probably where you want to focus your time to get them up to speed on those two things. All right. Thank you guys.